Welcome to the True Love Secrets Revealed series. Today we have Claudia Noriega-Bernstein joining us. She is an abundance coach. She is also an author. As far as I know, she has 4 books published. And she's also something that she does never say, but because she's my friend, I know. She's a huge philanthropist, and I love that about her, how generous this woman is. Look, I get goosebumps. Not only that, she's brilliant. She has 3 daughters, 3 blood daughters that pretty much she brought up by herself, and they are beautiful women now. And she also has 3 stepdaughters.
Yeah. Yes.
And I don't know how many dogs she has and birds. And I mean, she's amazing. I love her so much. Welcome, Claudia.
Thank you so much, Nati. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be part of this project that is so close to your heart. And I know how important it is sometimes just to listen a different perspective from other people and identify yourself and get tools, to get out of the funk. So I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to collaborate in every way you need me to.
Thank you. And I appreciate it. And I love, love, love having you here because I believe your zone of genius, your topics, abundance,
Mhm.
even though it doesn't relate directly to love, dating, and relationships, I believe it does relate a lot. And so I would like you to, if you can, explain to our audience what real abundance is and what it's important from your point of view, why it's important to embody the mindset of abundance when looking for love, looking for lasting love, for the real deal.
Yeah, of course. For me, abundance is not um, connected directly to things. There is a lot of people that believe that when they have abundance, they have a lot of things. For me, in the way I work with my clients, is more the abundance that we have within. And that comes, and you and I have talked about this several times, that comes with the value that we give to ourselves. So, what is your self worth? And your self
Mm,
worth comes from your self concept. What do you think about yourself? What it is that you feel is an asset that you own that allow you to feel that you belong. When you don't know your worth, you try to fit in. And when you try to fit in, oftentimes you shrink. So when we talk about love, for example, of finding the ideal partner, if your self concept is low or is not in abundance, then you're going to have a scarcity mentality. And when you have a scarcity mentality, you're going to accept anything. You're going
mm,
to wait to be chosen. You're not going to feel that you have the power to choose or the right to choose. You're just going to take whatever is offered to you. And
right.
in that process of wanting to belong, you are going to accept anything because you just want to feel love. Even though that love is in many circumstances not what you deserve because you're getting the leftover in a way, whatever people want to give you, not whatever you want, not whatever you think you deserve or you're worthy of. So
Right.
when you have an abundance mentality, the bar is a lot higher. You're not going to just settle. You're going to demand more because you know you're worthy of more.
Oh my God, I love it. Thank you. That's beautifully said, so articulated. Thank you, Claudia. Now, do you have any kind of, let's get into the practical stuff. I know we are moving fast here, but
Mhm.
bear with me. What have you discovered, or have you seen any patterns, any steps that the audience, if anybody's been related on this and they're like, oh yeah, I have a scarcity mindset. Do
Mhm.
you have any steps that they can take in order to start vanishing it a little bit or taking the energy off a little bit out of this scarcity mindset?
Yeah, I think the most important ingredient, if you want to call it some, is
Yes,
gratitude.
ingredient is
When you have gratitude, you focus on the positive.
mm,
You see your current situation and you don't look for what is missing. You start looking for what you already have and you start appreciating that. So you already starting in a higher place. You're not in your lower self because you're empowered by everything that you already belongs to you. So that's the first step for me is always live in gratitude. The
you.
second step is cultivate your self-love. You have to work on yourself. You have to work on building a strong self sense of self-worth, you know? But that is a work that you can do with yourself and by yourself because I can come to a client and coach her until I'm blue in my face. And if she's not coachable and she's not ready to receive, she's gonna be in the same place. So that self-worth, the cultivation of that self-worth has to start within yourself. You have to start discovering that uniqueness that is you. We're not all the same. We're all part of a masterpiece. We're a piece of a masterpiece, but we're all different, right? So when we start noticing those qualities, those talents, those gifts that make us unique, then we feel special. Then we feel, wow, I am different. But how beautiful it is to be different. How beautiful are all these shades of gray, because there is no black and white, right? So all these shades of gray that make me be me. And when you start appreciating that and recognizing that and loving that, then your self-worth start growing. So second step is that cultivate your self-worth. Um, then I think is important. Number three is the abundance in your thinking. You know,
Mm,
we are not responsible for our first thought. Our first, our first thought is the consequence of our limiting beliefs, of the histories that we tell ourselves, of our childhood trauma. So the first thought that comes to your mind is kind of like a default thought. And
okay.
you're not responsible for it. You know, it's like if you see something and then you think of whatever, and then you think to yourself, oh my God, I can't believe I just said that. Because it's your first thought, you know, you're not responsible for that. We're going to give you a pass. But all the other thoughts that come after that, you are responsible for, as
Right.
much as you're responsible for the actions that you take after that first thought. So it is very important to have an abundance mindset. That would be number three.
Yes.
Number four that I practice is my tribe.
Mm,
Who is your tribe? Who do you have around you? Who influence you? Because it's true what they say, you know, in Spanish, you say, dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres. In English, is tell me who you're surrounded with, and I will tell you who you are. If
uh,
you are with three thieves, you're going to be the fourth thief. But if you are with three philosophers, you're going to be the fourth philosopher. If you hang out with three women that are go-getters, you're going to be the fourth one because you're going to be influenced by that person, by those people, right? You're going to emulate to an extent that passion, that power, that fuel that those women has to go and get whatever it is that they want to get. The same thing happen in a negative way. If you are with people that are negative, they talk bad about other people, that they're gossip, that they're toxic, you're going to be one of them. So who is your tribe is very important. Um, Another thing that I work on and is a work in process because, oftentimes we fall out of the wagon
Right.
is we need to challenge our limiting beliefs and we
Mm,
need to recognize them. So when we are in a situation where we are triggered by somebody or by a comment or by a circumstance, then we need to pause and see, okay, wait a minute, why is this triggering me? What it is about this situation that is making me feel uncomfortable? And what can I learn about myself with this situation instead of reacting? So recognizing those negative beliefs help us grow
right.
because we are going to pinpoint what's holding us back. And that is, as I said, a work in process because you can be the Dalai Lama. And I'm sorry, but I do believe he's a human like us. And he probably also has moments when, those limiting beliefs sneak in, and then they're like, okay, should I do this? Should I do that? Why did I react? Why I didn't think before? Why I say this? Why I didn't say this? So be aware when those limiting beliefs come to the surface and try to pause and recognize them. And if they come with strong emotions, go through those emotions. Go through the waves up and down of those emotions and try to understand. We don't understand our emotions unless we, number one, acknowledge the emotion and go through the emotion.
Right.
We don't go through that process and we brush it off, that emotion is going to come back
Mhm.
because what we resist persists, right? So
Right.
try to be in the moment with those emotions to an extent that I tell my client, savor the emotion,
Right.
stay with it. Even if it's a painful emotion, see what's the source of that emotion and then accept the emotion. That emotion is part of me. Okay. Is it serving me? Maybe not. Then we're going to put it on the side. But before we put it on the side, we're going to acknowledge that emotion. So I think it's very important to do that. And and of course, feed your brain with good stuff. I mean, I think we are information junkies. I
Yeah.
think we always, well, what else is happening? Oh, did you hear this? Did you hear that? Be a little selective. What are you putting in your brain? What information are you absorbing? And how is that going to serve you? How is that going to help you to become that best version of yourself that we all aspire to be? So when you are selective with the information that you allow to get in your head, you are helping yourself become that best version of yourself.
Love it. Love it. That is unbelievable. So the ingredients, the six ingredients I got is the number one is gratitude, appreciation. The number two, develop healthy self-love, embrace your self-worth.
Mm-hmm,
Third one is abundance thinking. And
mm-hmm,
the fourth one is tribe, community, really, really curate who you allow in your environment. Number five is recognizing limiting beliefs. And number six is, I didn't write it down, I forgot already.
it's okay. Focus on growth and
Oh,
learning. Be selective.
feed, you said
Yeah.
feed your
Feed your
mind,
brain with
yes,
good stuff.
with
Be
good.
selective. Don't be an information junkie. Don't be somebody that's just going to believe everything they hear. You're going to accept everything you see. Be selective.
Yeah,
Trust your instinct and say, is this really true? Is this really a fact? Or this is just somebody's opinion? And if it's somebody's opinion, get curious why that person has that opinion and see if that opinion is aligned with you and what you want to be, what you want to become. You don't have to answer every phone call or every text. You don't have to accept every information. You don't have to watch every show. You get to be selective
right,
because you are your most important project. And if you allow the world to make those choices for you, you're never going to be that best version of yourself because you're not going to be in control of that. The only thing we can control really is what we think and what we feel. That's it. Everything else is out of our control. So let's work on that. Let's work on not so much controlling, but learning about ourselves so we can have that control of our brain and of our behavior.
I have a question for you. That was great, by the way. But I have a question for you that is totally, I never asked you this question, and if you don't want to answer it, I'll cut it out of the video.
That's fine.
So something that I didn't say about Claudia, because she's so multifaceted and she has done so many things in her life that, I mean, at age 25, look, all you have accomplished. But she was also a very successful, actually, actress. She was a very successful soap opera actress in Peru. Is that right? The right way to describe it? Yes.
Yes.
So, my question to you is related to that. Do you believe that being an actress and a soap opera actress, which is so
Mhm.
emotional and so in depth, you have to really get in depth on your emotions. I imagine, I don't know, I'm not an actress. Do you think that being an actress at such a young age helped you with being a abundance coach, with being a coach right now? Do you think that that shaped you into this, or you
I,
don't think it had any relationship one with the other?
I think everything that I have gone through in my life has shaped who I am now.
Yeah.
Um, Oftentimes I think about my life that it's a quilt of a lot of little pieces. And I ponder if I would choose not to have certain experiences.
Mm,
And then I come to terms with the fact that if I would not have had those experiences, I would not have had the lessons and I would not be who I am right now. So I think we are a collective of everything that happened for us, even though at the moment we probably don't realize it's happening for us. You know, it's usually a lot later that we look back and we say, wow, if I would not have had this situation, I would not have moved to this place and I would not have met this other person and I would not be in the relationship. Like everything has a reason.
right.
So, yes, being an actress shaped some of my personality. Um, I learned tools not so much because I was in front of a camera, but because I had to deal with a lot of circumstances that were challenging for me when I was so young. So that
Right.
makes me mature faster. But I think that it's all part of the puzzle, you know? They're just part of my life that all together made me be who I am right now.
Right. I love it. I love your
One
answer.
thing I can tell you that I learned when I was an actress, and I didn't just learn it then, but I guess my learning of this started there, was my non-negotiables. I was
Mm,
I oftentimes didn't know what I wanted, but I knew what I didn't want. And
oh,
that was kind of like a guiding line, like a compass for me. So even in relationships, you know, my first husband was an alcoholic. And so I make sure that if I was going to be in another relationship, I was not going to accept that because that was a non-negotiable. So it wasn't like I had a list of, okay, my perfect guy is going to have all these qualities. I didn't know because that changes, right? That changes
right.
with age. But they
Absolutely.
were my non-negotiables. And my non-negotiables, that list has grown with age, but the first one's still there. They didn't
Right.
change. I just add to the list, you know? Maybe because when we get older, we become a little more picky or less tolerant, you know, of things that we're not willing to negotiate anymore. And
Right.
that has a lot to do with knowing who you are,
Yeah.
knowing your value. So you don't shrink to fit anymore when you're older. I tell my husband he's very lucky because when he met me, I already knew how I like my eggs. And he goes, "How do you like your eggs?" And I go, "Well, sometimes scrambled, sometimes in a cake, sometimes fried. I don't know. But whenever it is that I want an egg, I know how I like it." When I was younger, I would emulate, if my boyfriend liked whatever, I like that too. And if, my friend liked to dress certain way, I like that too, because I had that need of being accepted. And,
Wow.
and that is something that we all have when we have trauma, that's a trauma response. We're people pleasers because we have trauma responses. And I learned with age what I like, what Claudia likes. And I
Right.
am in a place in my life where I like who I am. I like what I have become. I like what I like. I'm proud of myself, of my journey. And I know that I have a lot more to learn, but I'm kind to myself because I also know that I don't have all the answers. So I think that comes with time and knowing your non-negotiables. It's a great guiding light, it's great to know.
Yes, I agree with you. So if you were talking to, I don't know, let's not say your daughter because that's too close to you, but let's say a neighbor's daughter, and she comes to you and says, Claudia, I want to figure it out my non-negotiables in love.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think I should be looking at? Alcohol for sure, out.
But that is very personal though, Nati, because I think that what is a non-negotiable for me might not be a non-negotiable for you. So if my neighbor's daughter comes and she said, "You know what, I want to date, but I don't know what I'm looking for," and she
Right.
really doesn't know. I mean, there is actually an exercise that you have to write 100 qualities of
Wow.
somebody. And
Uh,
when you are in 35, you're like, wait, really? Do I need to get another 65? I don't know how am I gonna do that. So that is a turning point when you start noticing that there are other things that you actually don't want in your life. And
wow.
then you start writing that. Like, I want somebody to um appreciate my talent, let's say. That's a quality, right? And then what is the opposite of that? I am not going to be with somebody that puts me down.
Right.
But that is a non-negotiable for somebody, right? I don't care to be with somebody that is critic to me constantly because I can handle it, so I don't want it. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking an example of my neighbor, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes when you look for the positive, you can come up with the negative and say, okay, this is a
Opposite.
non-negotiable, right? I want somebody who um love to go camping.
Right.
So what is your non-negotiable? Maybe something as simple as saying, I am not going to be with somebody who doesn't like nature because I like nature. Like you couldn't be with somebody that doesn't like to go for hikes or go in nature. You love to do that. So
Ah,
that would be a non-negotiable for you. Imagine if your husband will say, "You know what, I just want to be in my room reading books." You're
yeah.
going to say, "Well, how are we going to share a life? I love to go walking. I love to be adventurous. I love to be in nature." So that is not a non-negotiable for me. I don't think I can spend my life with you,
Right.
because I need a partner and I need my partner to be part of these things that I like. I'm not saying that you're going to have your whole list. Like I tell my daughters, you get 7 out of 10. I mean, you're blessed because most of the people get 6 and 5 out of 10.
Right.
There is no perfect, but you want to look for those qualities in the person that are compatible with your qualities. You got to have things in common. I mean, my husband and I could be more yin and yang, but there's a lot of things that we enjoy together. So
Right.
he has his way of being, I have my way of being, but then there is this other pile of things that we share, that we
Right.
have these commonalities, that we have that allow us to, for example, we love to travel. Both of us love to travel. We love to get lost in cities, and walk everywhere. We love the ocean. We love a lot of things. I love go camping. He doesn't. So I go camping with my daughters. He doesn't come camping. That is not a non-negotiable for me because there is so many other things that we are compatible. So if he doesn't like to go camping, I don't care. But there are other things that are non-negotiable for me, like don't raise your voice to me.
Right.
Don't. I don't like to be spoken that way. That is a non-negotiable for me. For me, respect is non-negotiable.
Right.
That is a non-negotiable for me. If you're not going to respect me, I can't have a relationship with you because I am being kind to you. And that's exactly what I expect back.
Yeah.
And that's how you set the boundaries. I mean, sometimes you cannot block somebody in real life, but by having boundaries, you're blocking that person.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I agree. I love it. I asked you that question because I felt like it and I loved your answer. And the 100 non-negotiables or qualities list, that is amazing. I think
Yeah,
that is
start
very
writing it
helpful.
down. Start writing it down, and then you're gonna realize, oh my goodness, these are all the things that I like in a person. And then you start creating that avatar of this ideal partner for you. You're not gonna get the 100, but you're gonna start getting clear in what you're looking for. And you're gonna put it out there. And that's how you manifest. That person is somewhere out there. And
Yeah.
sometimes to go to your higher self, you have to meet your lower self.
Oh, tell us more about that.
Yeah, you have to meet your lower self and you need to accept your lower self.
Hmm.
You need to give the microphone to your lower self, you know, because
What
we're
do you
not
mean by
perfect.
that? Never heard of that
Yeah.
before.
I actually read it in a book that I was reading about self-esteem. And it says, in order to love your higher self, you
Yeah.
need to accept your lower self
Hmm.
because you come with the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're not perfect. So there are going to be parts of you that you're not going to be very proud of. And that's okay, as
Yeah.
long as you acknowledge them, as long as you know they're there,
Right.
because they're part of you.
Yes. Like the church I go to, I love it because they said this is a place where it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay not okay or to not try to do something. So it's
Mhm.
not being self-complacent, is to I agree with you. Everything has to come from a place of love. The opposite is fear, and it's either love or fear. That's
Yeah.
the eternal question. It's this coming from love or fear. Um,
Fear for me is face everything and rise.
I love it.
FEAR. So there's no fear. Fear is face everything and rise because fear is just your ego protecting you. We talk about this in when we had the retreat in my house. You remember? When everything goes right, ego comes right with fear, buddies, and they're like, Mayday, we've been happy for 5 days. We need to mess this up and we need to do it now.
Right.
Because there is this side of our brain that wants to predict the tragedy, that wants to say, yeah, everything is going to go wrong, so don't get used to this happy moment because I know that at some point the shoe is going to fall. And it's not true because we didn't come to this world to suffer. We came to this world to learn, to pay forward, to be joyful, to be kind to each other. We didn't come to this world to suffer. So if we have that mentality, and we start, okay, wait a minute, I'm happy. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm not going to sabotage myself. It's like those people that meet a guy and say, yeah, I went on the date. And how was it? "Nah, it's not going to work." How do you know? I just know it never works. What, do you want to be right? Is that what it is? Why not think, you know what? I had a great time. And I'm hoping to have another great time the next time I see him, unless you see those red flags, of course. But why not being hopeful that
Yeah.
everything is going to be okay? Sometimes we set ourselves up because we want to be right. You
Mhm.
know, we want to be right. I know it's not going to work. And then when it doesn't work, it comes I told you. See, I was right. I already knew it. Is that
Yeah.
what you want? Do you want to be happy or you want to be right? What it is? You decide.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. It's such a big point. Such a big point. I think we need a lot more humility,
Mm-hmm.
and being humble. Yeah. I think the ego is the problem for everything. The ego gets in the way and that's it.
But you have to think that the ego is just trying to protect you.
Yes,
So
for sure.
you don't see the ego as an enemy. The
Yeah.
ego is the little red flag that is trying to make you see what can go wrong. But
Right.
if you embrace that ego and you tell that ego, hey, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry. I got this. Let me go through this experience. Let me be present. Let me enjoy this. I don't care if it lasts 1 week, 1 month, 10 years. Let me be in this and really be present. Maybe you'll have a different outcome.
Oh my God, the audience is going to love this. Ladies, let me know how you like it. Send me a message. Send me a message. Oh, I have goosebumps. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh,
Thank
you're welcome.
you.
Nadia, I'm so happy I was able to do this with you. I'm sorry it took a little long, but
Oh
I'm
my God, don't
happy.
even get there.
And
Don't, if we start to apologize to each other, I will win. I have a lot more to apologize. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I am not sure if we talked about the gift that you have for the audience or if you want to share it with me later.
yeah,
Uh,
we have the
Remember,
affirmation, the 21-day affirmation. It's on my
good.
website, so they just have to
On the
go.
website. Okay, I
Yeah,
remember now. Let me write it down.
they just have to go and
Yeah.
put their fill out the little form so they can get it in their emails.
Very, very good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you again. It's a joy always to see you. It's always just a pleasure. And you're such a ray of sunlight and so beautiful inside out. And thank you.
You're welcome. I hope your audience enjoy this as much as I did.